So a little update on one of my Leachies. This is the male Nuu Ana cross. Gotta excuse my voice, I've been a little under the weather. But got him here in my light tent that I used to do a lot of photography and stuff, so filming this with my iPad, so hopefully it'll get some good resolution. But you can really see in this better lighting, you can see the good colors that he's got. He's got lots of pinks in him. He's got a little bit of damage on his head. You know, he and the female there at the kind of the end of the breeding season really didn't get along very well, and that's, according to the guy that I got these from, that's kind of typical for this pair. And so she got him good on the head, and then you can see here she nipped off his tail pretty good. But he's healing up pretty well. I think another shed and he'll be looking back to normal as far as the scarring on his head goes. But he's got some really good greens to him. Got some really nice coloration. You can see right there where he's kind of healing up on his head. She got him pretty good. But I did a video of him before, and I don't think you can actually see his colors quite as well because the lighting was kind of poor. And you know, I'm using the iPad 3 to do all my videos, which it has a pretty good camera on it. It's only 5 megapixel as far as for taking pictures, but the lens that it has is really high quality, and so it can do HD. A lot of people don't realize this, but it's not just the amount of megapixels in a camera that makes it you know, efficient and have good quality. It's also the quality of the lenses, and so a lot of people they'll pay a lot of money for a really high megapixel, you know, a 10, 12, 18 megapixel camera, and they'll think, oh, I'm getting a deal because it's so cheap. But in reality, it's got really cheap lens and some other things, and so you're not going to get as good a quality out of it. But he's just an all-around gorgeous animal. See if I can get him to come down so we can see his head a little better. Didn't really intend to ever do any videoing in this light tent. Ah, come on, buddy. He does not like having. If I turn him upside down, that'll throw him off a little. There we go. You can really see the scarring where it's healed up on his head. I came in one night and they were just absolutely tearing each other up, so I've had them separated ever since. And I'm hoping that we're not going to have some incompatibility issues. I have some other females now just in case that occurs. But you know, this is obviously one of the island forms, and they tend to be a little bit easier to pair up than the real giant geckos, the grand tear forms. But every now and then I've read you do have, you know, some of the, well, I guess we should say formerly Hinkle-eye animals that no longer are compatible with one another after they've been paired for several years. So I'm hoping that's not what's going to happen here. But other than the head scarring, you know, he's just an incredibly beautiful animal. I'm trying to get a good shot of his eye. Got one little black spot right there. And the Nuu Amis and Nuu Anas and especially the Nuu Ami, Nuu Ana crosses are really just get more colorful the older they get. So if you're really wanting, if you're looking to get in a Leachie and you're wanting to get something that's got some color to it, that's the way to go, is with the Nuu Amis and the Nuu Anas. And the Nuu Ami, Nuu Ana cross, I've read and I've heard from several people, the F2 generation, which if you're not familiar with what that means this right here would be F1 generation because the parents were pure Nuu Ami and pure Nuu Ana, so these are 50-50. But the children of two F1 crosses are supposed to be the most colorful of all the Leachies. So I've got a couple of those eggs in the incubators, and I'm going to sell some of them, but I'm definitely going to keep back one just to try and prove that out and see how much. I wonder how close I can actually get with this camera. Yeah, it looks like that's about a limit of how far close I can get. Not sure how it's coming out on the camera, but there's really a lot of pink and even in some spots even almost some red coloration in there. And then when you put that back against the the overall background of the green, it just makes for a really good looking animal. And in case I haven't said that, this is the male. And you can usually tell the males, especially in the island forms, because they have kind of a stockier head. It's kind of shorter, whereas the females kind of have a longer and leaner head. And really in the Nuu Amis and the Nuu Anas, you can't really tell just by looking at the base of the tail, because they all have kind of a bulge back there. You have to really look for the pores. Of course, you can also tell if they're an adult, by how large and stocky the head is. This light tint that I'm using works out really well if you want to take pictures of your animals. It's just I just took a cardboard box, and you can see I just cut out the sides and the top. And what I have in there right now is actually just white fabric. But really what would work best is if you can go to like Lowe's or somewhere and get like the white window tint, which is what I'm about to do. And then you just need some really high temperature not high temperature, but high color temperature bulbs. And so you need something that mimics sunlight or natural light. So that would be around the the 6,000 color temp range. When I'm outside of the light tint, you can tell it looks kind of shabby, but when you get inside, you get good lighting.